Right, a very good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight on this broadcast. Trust you're doing well this Sunday, the 9th of February 2025. A lot has been happening during the day, from politics to social issues, which we are going to inform you in just a bit. But first, let's get an introduction.
This is Weekend Live with Anyango, Sylvia.
That's right, our sign language interpreter tonight is Lucy Kiarie. Remember, this broadcast, KUTV Weekend Live, is also coming to you live on YouTube at KUTVNEWS Kenya, and you can engage with us in other social media platforms. That is on X at KUTV_Kenya, at Anyango Sylvia KE. We begin with politics. Now, in recent times, the political temperatures in Kenya have started to escalate, with the merging of Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, giving a new face of the opposition. And as Edward Nyamo reports, the formation is expected to pile pressure on President William Ruto come 2027. Take a look.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, DAP Kenya leader Eugene Wamalwa, and Rigathi Gachagua are the three leaders who are being seen as a threat to President William Ruto in the upcoming elections. However, the question of the majority party in the National Assembly continued to raise reactions after the court overturned Speaker Moses Wetangula's verdict that UDA party was the majority.
On Tuesday, muende mukae mahali ya majority in the National Assembly. Because mahakama imesema hawa jamaa walinyakua, yani ndio kufanya artificial majority, na wamepatikana kwanza mchana na mahakama. Hakimu watatu wakatoa uamuzi kwamba the majority sio Kenya Kwanza, majority ni Azimio Coalition. Kwa hivyo Jumatano pia tutaitisha kikao na wabunge wetu wote ndio tuchukue msimamo.
In the recent events in Isiolo, where some youths rubbished President Ruto's speech, opposition leaders have come out to support the youths, stating it's their right to protest against the government.
Mimi sijawahi kuona kiongozi president wa nchi anapigwa makelele na watu yake. Watu wa Isiolo juzi wanasema Ruto must go. Ukimuuliza anasema ni Kalonzo alituma watu. Hapana, sio mimi. Akikosa kudunga wanyama, anataka kuwadunga kwa nguvu, watu wakikataa sema ni Kalonzo. Ile mtu wa dengu. Kwa hivyo jamaa wamepatwa na tumbo joto.
President Ruto now seems to be on crossroads due to the rejections he is receiving from the public in his tours with his allies, seeming to be overwhelmed by the reactions from the opposition.
Mwaka wa 2007 tukachagua kiongozi kutoka wapi? Si kwa mlima. 2013 tukapeleka wapi? 2017 tukapeleka wapi? Sasa ikiteremuka hivi itukuja Rift Valley, ndio sisi pia watu ya Western tuitegee, wanaanza kupiga nduru. Lakini si wote. Huyo jamaa mmoja ambaye anataka kupoteza jamii yote na kuanza kugonganisha watu wa Mlima na majamii mengine Kenya, tunamwambia ashindwe.
Gachagua's verdict today is expected to give the direction the opposition will take after Jubilee Party announced their stand on former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, and now it's awaited to see who will fly the opposition flag come 2027.
Najua hii muungano yetu tuko na mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, tuko na mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa, tuko na mheshimiwa Matiang'i. Pia rais ambaye alikuweko hapo mbele, mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, pia hako kwa muungano gani? Si ndio hiyo?
Sasa watu wanatuletea Kiingereza kidogo kidogo. Si ndio? Na mkiona wale wanalalamika ni watu sijui wamesomea wapi. Si mimi niko na PhD. Si mimi naelewa nini inaendelea Kenya. Sasa mimi napata watu wengine wako na elimu kidogo kidogo wanajaribu kunifundisha. Mnanifundisha kazi gani?
IBC formation is also expected to influence the politics of 2027, with the leaders added to Gachagua having stated that they will change their party after the formation to join the new party expected to be chaired by Gachagua. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Now, a lot is expected from Gachagua this night because he's holding a public engagement or an interview, but on his local dialect. We'll keep you updated on our subsequent bulletins. Now, there's some time political tides are shifting in Kenya as ODM leaders hold a high-stakes Western Region Convention amid significant national developments. The gathering comes on the heels of a landmark court ruling declaring Azimio coalition as the majority, a heated political climate as the opposition takes shape, and a growing competition in ODM's traditional strongholds. Take a look. In a politically charged Western Region Convention, ODM leaders reaffirmed their position as a leading political force in Kenya, issuing critical resolutions and addressing key national and party issues. The meeting follows a landmark court ruling that declared the Azimio la Umoja coalition as the majority in parliament. This decision has emboldened ODM leaders who are now demanding leadership of key decision-making committees. ODM party leaders also took a firm stand against recent political maneuvers in the Western region, including President William Ruto's development tour, perceived as a challenge to ODM's dominance. The leaders criticized conflicting directives from the party's headquarters, which they say have caused confusion, with some members aligning with the opposition while others support the government. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna's absence was highlighted, but leaders rallied behind him, calling for respect for his contributions and emphasizing his critical role in shaping the party's strategy. As political activity intensifies, ODM's resolutions underline their strategy to counter challenges, maintain dominance, and expand their influence nationally. This includes support for Raila Odinga's bid for the African Union Commission chairmanship, a commitment to field candidates for all elective positions in the 2027 general election, a call for unity, with leaders pledging to speak in one voice, and the demand for revoking Ruto's decision to remove Northern Kenya ID vetting. With the Western Kenya region emerging as a political battleground, ODM's convention signals their readiness to consolidate their base while addressing critical national concerns. The stage is set for heightened competition and strategic maneuvering in the months ahead. Anyango, Sylvia, KUTV.
Tumeelewana?
Now let's shift gears from politics. Parents of learners in private schools in rural areas are decrying inaccessibility of textbooks and lack of close supervision by the government on the implementation of junior secondary schools, JSS, are situations that are jeopardizing success of the program in private schools. Speaking at Kibabi Academy, the parents led by Rogers Wekesa and Sarah Simiu urged the government and the education officials from Busia and Bungoma not to segregate private schools while implementing the programs, noting that all learners have equal right to quality education. Teachers, on the other hand, led by Amos Wakonga from Kibabi Academy, slammed the Ministry of Education for being selective on retooling of JSS teachers, where private school teachers are urged to pay high to attend the retooling program.
Serikali wakati wanapeana vitabu kwa junior secondary, shule kama hizi za academy huwa hasipewi vitabu. Sasa tungeomba serikali wakati inataka kupeana vitabu, watiane vitabu shule zote Kenya, because mtoto wa academy ni mtoto wa Kenya.
Watoto wako over 40 kwa class. Nasema mwalimu saa zingine anapata ni ugumu, anachukua simu yake, labda afanye hiyo googling, na hisi deal na mtoto mmoja, ata google page kama ngapi ndio atoshea haya mahitaji ya watoto wote. Haswa sasa kama kiserikali tunaomba kwamba tuwe tuna usawa, maana hawa watoto wote wakipita hawatasema alikuwa wa akademia ama ni public. Wote labda kwa hiyo nafasi nyingine watakuwa tu ni watu wa maana kiuchumi na wa Kikenya. Kwa hivyo naomba kama serikali wasikuwe na ule upakuzi sana. Na hivi
hasa tukiwa upande wa mtaalamu mpya wa CBC. Changamoto.
Now, anti-female genital mutilation, FGM, strategies are being developed to combat the harmful practices, which has unpredictable statistics. A multi-stakeholder approach involving civil society groups and activists is being employed to eliminate FGM. Irenius Kombe, County Director of the International Solidarity Foundation, noted that FGM prevalence remains high in regions like Gusii, Samburu and West Pokot, that is over 70%. But figures have decreased in areas where the organization operates. Grace Murungi, Gender-Based Violence Project Officer, mentioned a new alliance between two levels of government aimed at raising public awareness. Rachel Okongo, Nyamira County Director of Gender and Social Services, called for more partners and national-level policies to effectively address FGM. Intersex lobbyist Robert Kibagendi warned that mutilation of intersex individuals is equally unacceptable, stressing the importance of respecting their human rights.
Basically, I would say for the period that we've been here, we've seen some impact as an organization. When you look at the numbers, they're really coming down in terms of percentages. But still, when you look at the statistics, we still rank very high in the country after Samburu, West Pokot and all that. And I think it's high time that we really put our efforts together because this is a vice that we can eradicate.
One of the reasons why you are here is to try and create alliances and networks so that we can have people from all over these other regions in the Gusii community who get this information and also who have the mandate of working in the respective locations where they come from so that they can also create awareness in the fight against FGM. So we are really forging ahead with ways on how we can build sustainable alliances across sectors involving our government, the national government, the county government, the CSO organizations, faith-based organizations, even cultural leaders, so that we have everyone on board and involved in this fight against FGM.
I request more partners to come on board so that we emphasize and do sensitization on the ground and tell people the impact of cutting the young girls. And also, we are in the process of developing the policies that's customizing from national government, which will support us so that we all responsible for those perpetrators, the parents who have not accepted that girls are not supposed to be cut. Okay.
Following the rise of insecurity cases, where within a month over 6 people have lost their lives in crime-related cases in Teso South, Mary Amase, Teso South Member of Parliament, has called on the security officers in the sub-county to up their game and ensure safety and security is upheld. Amase urged boda riders to ensure security of their motorbikes, which has been the main target by criminals, while at the same time urging the residents to enroll on SHA to benefit like other residents in case of any eventualities.
Kama bado tunasubiri maafisa wa usalama kutenda jambo, labda mupange muwe mnawacha pikipiki labda kwa petrol station. Naweza kuwa safe. Vile magari malori wanawacha kwa petrol station. Inalindwa unachukua asubuhi.
Now let's shift gear to news across our borders on Japanese-US ties, where Japanese Prime Minister visit comes amid Trump's early foreign policy move that rattled allies.
In Japan had been anxious about Shigeru Ishiba's visit Friday to the White House to meet President Donald Trump, but it appears the Prime Minister succeeded in building rapport.
I wish I was as handsome as him, but I'm not.
Ishiba lavished praise, saying he was inspired by Trump's undaunted spirit to win the election and fulfill his mission, even after an assassination attempt.
You're going to pursue your signature initiative of Make America Great Again, and also you will redouble your efforts to bring peace to the world. And that is why God saved you in that experience.
The pair declared a new golden age for U.S. and Japan. Ishiba's visit comes amid Trump's early foreign policy moves that have escalated pressure not only on U.S. adversaries but also on allies and partners. On Friday, Trump threatened reciprocal tariffs.
A country pays so much or charges us so much, and we do the same, so very reciprocal.
Ishiba declined to say whether he would retaliate. Another bilateral strain is the $15 billion acquisition bid by Japan's Nippon Steel for Pittsburgh-based U.S. Steel. Former President Joe Biden blocked the deal in the last weeks of his term, citing national security concerns. On Friday, Trump appeared open to negotiation.
They'll be looking at an investment rather than a purchase. We didn't like the idea. U.S. Steel is a very important company to us.
Japan agreed to increase investments in key U.S. sectors, as well as purchasing more American liquefied natural gas, important agenda items for Trump.
They're able to use their leverage in a very strategic manner, at the same time trying to promote with Trump the things that they're interested in, making sure that U.S. forces remain in Japan, making sure that the U.S. remains committed to the Indo-Pacific.
On the security front, the U.S. and Japan appear on track to continue cooperation to deter North Korea's nuclear threats and China's aggression in the Taiwan Strait, South China Sea, and East China Sea. Defense arrangements between Washington and Tokyo, including trilateral efforts with other allies such as South Korea and the Philippines, are expected to continue. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News at the White House.
Now that story takes us to a very fast break on the broadcast tonight. Stay with us.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari-ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
You are watching Weekend Live with Anyango Sylvia.
Welcome back in agribusiness tonight. Over 5,000 sorghum farmers from Mwea are reaping millions from sorghum farmings after the sale of over 800 metric tons of sorghum to brewers through contract farming. According to Beatrice Karanga, who is one of the farmers with sorghum farming, able to harvest between 40 and 50 bags of sorghum, which is bought at the farm and paid instantly by the brewers who have contracted them. Sorghum farming now seems to have gained roots in the area since being introduced in the arid and semi-arid parts of Kirinyaga in 2022, following protracted drought spells that made it difficult to harvest maize crops that they have been relying on.
We expect, like at the end of this month, we'll be harvesting our sorghum, and we expect to have anything between 800 and 900 metric tons, meaning at a cost or at a buying price of 48 shillings per kilogram, there will be an injection of about 40 million into this economy.
Tangu nianze kulima hii sorghum, niko na 4 times ama season 4, na naona ni nzuri kwa sababu unapata pesa haraka. Hata kukosa mvua ikikosa kunyesha, kukiwa kuko na mvua ndogo, mtu ana harvest sorghum.
Ni pahali tumeanza hii mmea, na hii mmea tukiangalia tunaiona ni mmea mzuri na inatupatia matokeo mema.
To ensure traceability and the number of farmers, Briolis have come to the ground with an app called Quality Trace, which they have been able to capture the number of farmers. The number of farmers it is not gradual increase. This time has been like a rampant increase because they have grown to a amount. They are totally now around 1,100 and something from the data that has been captured from this area.
Now, as the price of eggs continue to rise across the United States due to a bird flu outbreak causing high mortality in flocks, some Americans are changing their consumption habits.
As the price of eggs continues to rise across the United States due to a bird flu outbreak causing high mortality in flocks, some Americans are changing their consumption habits.
A box of eggs used to cost about $3.50, now it's about like $6.50, something like that. I used to maybe consume about a dozen eggs a week. Now I eat maybe a dozen eggs 2 weeks.
I remember eggs being much cheaper about 2.5 years ago, and then all of a sudden it skyrocketed again, and it's just horrible. Like, I mean, that's one of the staples for everyday life.
Egg prices rarely rose above $2 per dozen in the 6 years or so leading up to the 2022 H5N1 virus outbreak. But the increase has been sharp since the end of last year, with consumers paying up to $7 per dozen eggs in January.
The retailers who are buying the eggs wholesale, we've seen that retailers have started to pass those prices on to consumers. In order for the egg price to stabilize, we really have to see a stabilization in our supply, and that is going to require us to get a handle on avian influenza.
Luke doesn't see that happening anytime soon.
The USDA has estimated that the price of a dozen of eggs is going to increase about 20% here in 2025 as compared to 2024 levels.
The American Egg Board told VOA in a statement that demand for eggs remains high, but acknowledged the highly pathogenic avian influenza has resulted in low egg supplies in several regions and with specific retailers, as well as higher prices. Those higher prices might be good news for Virginia farmer George Terwilliger, who sees a chance to make his family farm more profitable.
I might find a safe supply of chickens and double or even triple the size of our flock. I don't want to gouge people for fresh eggs, but I do think small producers have an opportunity to fill in some of the blanks here.
But Terwilliger predicts that eventually the big food producers will find ways to protect their birds from the avian flu, and that egg prices will come back down. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, Delaplane, Virginia.
Now that story is taken to the second break on the broadcast. That story is taking us on the second break on the broadcast tonight. Apologies for what just happened on your screens. Just before we go for the break, it's not only a crisis, food crisis in Kenya, it's also a world crisis. So in everything that you do, agriculture is always the way forward.
Access to knowledge
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Welcome back. Now in sports tonight, in today's Kenya Premier League matches, KCB secured a 2-0 victory against Murang'a Seal, moving them to 4th in the table with 32 points. Ulinzi Stars secured a barren draw against Kakamega Homeboys, with Mara Sugar sinking Talanta FC 4-1, moving them to 9th in the league. A goalless draw was recorded between FC Leopards and Kariobangi Sharks. Posta Rangers, on the other side, moved to 15th with 20 points, thrashing Shabana 2-1. Now that's on our sports update tonight, and it brings us to the end of our broadcast tonight. Thank you so much for choosing KUTV and for staying with KUTV Weekend Live this far. I'm Anyango, Sylvia. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lucy Carey. Have a good night.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
Folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari